It's very common to hear people say things like, I'm taking a break from social media, doing this for myself or whatever. But what I don't hear as often is a very good, insightful, deep, well thought out explanation of why social media is bad or negative. So I did an experiment where I kept my applications logged out for most of the day, namely Instagram and Facebook, and I watched to see what happened. And what I realized from this is that I had so much more energy. And it's not in the sense of like, woohoo, I'm hyper and I'm bouncing off the walls, more so in the sense of these energy parasites that were kind of stealing energy from me were no longer there. And so the energy that I had was kind of more focused. It wasn't pulled in all these different directions. And that may seem like somewhat of a superficial assessment, but here's the deep level, okay? Existence first. This is the deeper layers of reality and psychology. So check this out. When we go to a movie, right, you go to the movie theater, you sit down for a couple hours and you watch this movie. The movie still takes your attention, right? You're still expending energy watching the movie. However, a feature film movie, is designed with the intention of delivering a certain experience. It follows a plot line of beginning, then there's this ascending plot line towards the climax or problem of the story, and then that problem is resolved, whether that's a final battle between good and evil, or whatever, or some sports team finally winning the championship after failing and failing and failing. It's some sort of resolution. And so there's a decline at the end of every movie in terms of tension. There's a relaxation. And this, almost like a bell curve, plotline structure is consistent across every movie. So the emotional journey is pre-structured. Now, when we look at social media and you have a scrolling session through Facebook or Instagram, how is that structured? It's structured and designed in a way that basically is governed by algorithms, but with the intention of just keeping your attention a little bit longer. And so it becomes this sort of bottomless pit experience where you're just scrolling. And the topics, there's no overall cohesive structure to it all. It's just sort of this hodgepodge of different sensationalist or really energy, or not energy, attention grabbing things, which then takes your energy and pulls it in so many different directions, right? I start to think of it almost like my energy is being pulled, like literally physically pulled in different directions. And in contrast to a movie, where maybe in a movie, along as the plot line goes towards the climax, maybe a lot of things will go wrong. 007 is trying to rescue someone, and he just keeps falling into the enemy's traps, and it looks like he's about to die or whatever. That does stress out the consciousness, but in the end of every movie, that gets resolved. And so it gets everything that was fractured gets put back together in a nice cohesive whole with a bow and a ribbon on top, right? Now, with social media, there's no such packaging, right? You're scrolling through Instagram and Facebook. There's no attempt to package your experience and take all of that fractured consciousness that happened through your session and piece it back together so that you kind of come back to this nice organized and ordered consciousness. That's not what happens with social media. And so what I learned from these 2 days is that social media, and again, we have to be intelligent here. This doesn't mean that social media is bad. Intelligent people think in terms of cause and effect, right? So if you have this just indefinite scrolling session, then maybe that will be the effect on your consciousness. right? It doesn't mean it's bad. And then there's a whole different aspect of looking at social media from the perspective of a business owner, entrepreneur, or marketer, right? Where you are posting the content rather than consuming the content. So there's so many ways to look at this, but that is just one cause and effect relationship that I noticed. So those are the outcomes from my 2-day experiment of abstaining from social media. If you've done any similar experiments, I'm curious what results you've gotten. So comment below what happened when you took a break from social media. And I will see you in tomorrow's video. Until then, think deeply and put your existence first.